You're listening to the Piano Parent Podcast with Shelley Davis, episode 374. Hey there, and welcome to the Piano Parent Podcast. I'm Shelley Davis, a longtime piano teacher and parent with my husband of 4 mostly musical kids. As parents, we spend so much time trying to encourage and motivate our kids. We wonder if we're doing the best things for them. We second guess our decisions, and we worry if we're going to scar them for life. While you focus on encouraging your kids, I'm here to reassure and inspire you. I'll be here every week with practice tips, inspirational teacher interviews, and musical topics to help you impress your kids with your musical knowledge. Parenting is not for the faint of heart, but it's much easier with support, and you have come to the right place. I am delighted to have as my guest on the podcast today, Dorla Aparicio, who is a fellow Texas teacher, and we've actually been able to meet in person at our state conferences, and we've talked about joining forces on the podcast before, and I'm so grateful that today is the day. Dorla, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for the invitation. I'm glad to be here.
Would you tell us, before we kind of get into the interview proper, would you tell us just a little bit about where you are, more specifically in Texas, and kind of what your studio looks like, and tell us a little bit more about you?
Okay. So I live in central North Texas, DFW area in
Yes.
Cleburne.
Okay.
And I've been teaching here in the same town since 1986.
Wonderful.
So it's been a while that I've been here teaching. I'm originally from Costa Rica. And we moved to Mexico, where my parents were professors at a university. And that's where I did my bachelor's in piano performance. Then we moved to Texas. I took a 10-year break and then went back to school to do my graduate work at Texas Christian University here in Fort Worth.
Yes.
And I've just been here. I worked at TCU for a few years, and then I decided to just do my own thing here at my studio. And so I, through the years, fell in love with teaching group piano. And so that is what I do at my studio here in Cleburne.
I was gonna say, when you say studio, you ain't joking. You mean studio. And I'm guessing, do you have like a retail location? You're not in your home with group lessons.
No, so right now, this right here is my studio, but it's 40 steps away from my house.
Oh, nice.
So it's a separate building.
Yes.
We built it maybe 12 years ago.
How
And so I
wonderful.
moved out of my house into here. And so it's just a 1,000 square foot little building for my pianos and a
Yes.
restroom for the students. And that's about it. Well, and then this little office for me.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I can't wait to hear more about that. And you also have a method that you have available for teachers, and music that you have written, and some things that I have ordered and was able to use with my students this past summer. Yes. So we'll talk more about Piano Pyramid as we go.
Okay.
If you don't mind, let's go. One of the things that I love talking to teachers, musicians, grown-ups who still enjoy music is, will you take us all the way back to how things got started? You said your parents worked at the university. Are they also musicians, or how did piano get into the picture for you?
So my parents, I would call them amateur musicians. You know, my dad sang in quartets,
Yeah.
my mom in trios. They were always in choir. My dad played trumpet for fun and drums. And I grew up in a university setting where they were professors in Costa Rica, then in Mexico. But I started taking piano lessons when I was 6. back
Okay.
in Costa Rica. And we did not have a piano at home, but my mom had a paper piano keyboard that she would put right.
I had the same thing. Yes.
Yes, put it on the bed and make sure that I practiced until I think maybe a few months later, I got my first piano.
Yes.
And she would take piano lessons um, also, so she could help me
Nice.
until I got to a place where I got ahead of her. So then she stopped. But my mom has always been a singer,
Yes.
singing in choir, and she still does that now in her 80s, and she still, just
Beautiful.
last week they had their big Christmas program, and she organizes everything and has everybody in order, and then is up there singing with the choir. It's really,
Wonderful.
really great to see her do all that still.
So they're close to you. They're not still in Mexico. No, they moved to Texas.
Yes. So eventually we all moved here to Texas, and we were all neighbors. So with my parents and my brother and my sister and their families, and then my studio and then my family were all
Yes.
we call it a compound, even though that doesn't sound very good in Texas.
Right. It's gotten a little bit of bad press, but I
Right.
agree with you. I have the property that my grandparents owned. I have aunt and uncle and cousins that all they have just have their own little community there. And
Right.
it's so tight knit and just a beautiful little area that they have. So I
Yes.
understand where you're coming from. And that's so
Yes.
nice to have everybody so close like
It
that.
is. It is.
So I think that's really neat that your mom took lessons alongside you or you're about the same time and then you surpassed her. Probably it was good that well, I would imagine she could be even more empathetic to how challenging learning a new piece of music is or making your fingers cooperate and do what you want them to do. She had that same experience as a musician, as a learning musician. I wonder how else were your parents influential in your becoming a musician and then even continuing on through college and now being a teacher?
So one thing I remember is that my dad would wake us up. Well, would wake me up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh boy,
I had to practice from 6 to 6:30, and then at 6:30, everybody else would gather in the living room, and we would have worship in the morning.
nice.
And then I had to play, whatever song my teacher had given me that we could sing in worship. And then my dad would preach in all the little small churches around, and we sang as a family and harmonized. And I didn't know that was all musical training for me until I did music learning theory training with Edwin Gordon.
Yes.
And, he would just tell us, okay, you come and sing and harmonize with whatever I'm singing. And I'm like, what? I couldn't do it. And that's when it clicked for me like, oh, this is something I've been doing all my life since I was little.
Yes.
And so it was very easy. I understood how that worked musically.
That is beautiful. I didn't realize that you had worked with Edwin Gordon like that.
Well, I didn't work with him.
Okay,
It was just a training. They
I
used to
understand.
have a 2-week training in
Yes.
South Carolina, I think they call it.
Okay.
And so I went for that 2-week training, but it was very intense. Very intense.
Yes.
And I was very scared to do it. I was like, I'm not really a singer. But once I understood what he was wanting us to do, to be very comfortable harmonizing and singing and just playing with music, that's when I understood, oh, wait a minute. Yeah.
Been doing this?
I know how to do this. Yes, I just didn't know I had a name.
Right, right. And you know that this podcast is designed for parents of piano students who may be amateur musicians. They may be trying to learn with their children. They may just recognize the value of a music education. I think it's important for them to hear from you that your dad, for whatever his motivation was at the time, maybe it was just fun, maybe he had this long game plan
I
that
doubt it.
but I
No, it
think
was
it's
just something, we
just
did.
fun. Yeah, yes. I think that's so important for parents to hear, just to gather, even singing with the radio when you're
Yeah.
driving back and forth to school. Whether you think you're a good singer or a bad singer, your child doesn't care, but it's so valuable.
So, now that I hear you say that, I'm thinking of myself as a parent. And I did not raise my son with, waking up at 6 in the morning to practice and singing and going to churches but in the car, we always played music. And I would always have, it's weird, classical music when that played. We would play, kind of, okay, what musical period is this from?
Oh,
Who do you
yes.
think the composer is? And we didn't get along very well, me teaching him piano. We
Yes.
would fight a
That's
lot.
that's very delicate the way you're saying that, but
Yes.
yes.
But when he decided to study music. And so when he was doing music history in college, he, these were all things that were very natural to him. And I was just doing it as a game with
Yes.
him. But it was something that he was used to doing, like, remembering certain things about music in order to help them when they dropped the needle on the record in the
Yes.
day and you had to
Yes.
figure out what it was. So that was not scary for him.
I love that. There's so many things that we as parents do, sometimes intentionally, sometimes we do have a plan behind that, sometimes just accidentally, but it makes a connection for our children. I interviewed, I'm sorry that I'm not recalling his name, but I interviewed a gentleman years ago on the podcast, and his stance was that, we consider Mozart such a prodigy and what a genius he was. But his dad was a musician and his older sister was a musician. What else is he gonna do? So it was just sort
Exactly.
of part of their family fabric, and so
Yes.
I love
Th-
that your
That's
dad.
and that's really interesting because my nieces and nephews, they're all into music in one way or another.
Nice.
Musical theater, piano, hip hop, jazz, choir. It's really interesting, and of course, they grew up with me, here on our compound,
Right?
and music was one of the things that they always saw me do here at the studio, and that was just part of life.
Beautiful.
And when I used to teach early childhood music classes. So moms would come with their babies, and it's interesting that here I was teaching the parents how to play musically with their kids because that is not something that is done anymore.
Right. Right. Something that might should come back.
Yes, yes.
So your dad would wake you up at 6 o'clock in the morning to practice. Was that something that you were, "Yeah, dad, let's go, and this is gonna be awesome," or how much did you push back?
No, because I wanted to sleep like everybody else.
Yes.
So well, I don't think they were sleeping because I was playing the piano.
Right.
But they still got to, be cozy in bed, and while I'm over there practicing. I don't remember not liking it, but I sure don't remember liking it.
Right.
But it was just something that I had to do because my dad
Yes.
said I had to do it.
Yes, there you go, and good for your dad for, being that part of the equation with you. That's why I'm such a fan of trying to support parents, and, sometimes as parents, we feel like, oh, if am I the only one that cares about this? If I'm having to wake them up every morning or if I'm having to remind them to practice, is it really worth it? And, of course, you have to decide if this is something that your child. I mean, you don't want you don't want friction all the time, but there are
Yeah.
things that they must do, and as parents, we get to decide some of that when they're younger, and we get to be influential about that. But just because you're getting pushback from your child, or maybe they're not as enthusiastic as you would hope they would be, doesn't mean that you give up, doesn't mean that you stop. Yes.
I do tell the parents all the time, and I tell them it's how much of this stress do you want to have? Or are you going to be okay with it? Because
Yes.
that's really is what's going to happen. What I did as a parent is I had to find a teacher for my son.
Yes.
And once I did that, I could back away, but it was difficult being his teacher and then being at home and hearing him practice. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? So, but I do tell the parents now that it's going to be a battle, and of course, you choose your battles. And if it's something you think is important, then you just keep doing it. They'll
Yes.
be glad one day.
Yes, yes, I agree with that. So I would like to kind of shift to more of what you would say you're finding is successful with students in your studio. How do you see parents are being supportive with their kids, or maybe even some cautionary tales of some things that you're seeing these days that maybe parents are trying to do that's not working, or just kind of talk about how things are working in your studio, because you have you are exclusively group lessons, right?
Well, I used to be, then I wasn't, and then I am again.
Okay.
So 2023, 24, I exclusively group.
Yes.
And I did that because I could see the difficulties that the parents were having at home, having the students practice.
Okay.
So the students are in art, in spelling bee, in reading, in sports, and
Yes.
everything after school, and they want to do piano. And me telling the parent, little Johnny's not practicing. Little Johnny's not practicing. If I keep doing that, they're going to quit piano.
Sure.
So I had to find that change of mind, that mindset, that it is okay and it is beneficial for students to do sports and music.
Yes.
You know, there's so many skills that overlap and that help each other. And so, in order for me to be able to do that at the studio, group piano would be ideal
Hmm.
because I could schedule in a way, and I do multi level group piano. So I have beginner all the way to early intermediate can come at the same time and play. And then I do that every day. And so if you miss because of game, you can come on another day and
Wow.
we're still playing the same songs. It's the same book that you're using. And if you don't go home and practice, you don't have time, or for whatever reason, it's okay because we want to do the core of the learning in class
Yes.
and you get to practice, and then it's kind of like we're learning horizontally until you understand enough to go vertically.
Oh, wow.
So we're doing that at the same time, and then each student will learn and advance at their own pace, but we still can be together. And that was very beneficial for the parents. They're not arguing at home. Oh, you didn't practice. You have to practice. That was almost muted, I should say.
Right.
And I would talk to the parents. It takes a lot of parent education also. Me telling them, this is what we're doing, this is what we're learning, this is how we're learning it. And the parents were very, very, very supportive. And they just, keep coming because they understand we can do both now. It's not a competition between our after school activities and music.
Yes. So tell me, because I know that you're helping us segue more toward the program that you've developed and that is available to other people. Is that is Piano Pyramid, or something that multi-level within the same class, is that something that you developed yourself, or did you learn that from someone else and then you've adapted it to your teaching style? Or
I think that I came up with it because
I
I
think
don't
you
know
did.
anybody else that does it this way.
No, it
But
boggles my brain. I'm so upset that I can't wrap my mind around it. And we'll just have a little one-on-one therapy for me and you right now. Because I have tried to do group lessons. I think it would be so much fun. And
Mhm.
I have tried to do group in the past years ago where I had little keyboards for, for everybody. And I would do maybe a summer session where I might get 6 students to come together over the summer. But I think it was you, maybe it was somebody else that talked about being able to do group in a studio with just, I mean, you can see my baby grand behind me. I've got a Kauai over off of the side over here. And they're like, you can do group even with just a couple of instruments. And anyway, I bought your starter kit, your
Oh,
multi-level starter kit.
okay.
And I tried it this past summer, and I did have 2 students that signed up for that, but one was absent and then the other one was absent. And so
Yeah.
it ended up being partner lessons and mostly just one-on-one. But anyway, I
But they
see the
still can come
value.
together and play.
They could, and they did. They worked on a couple of songs together, but I'm just amazed. Will you talk a little bit more? I mean, if I'm just ready to talk about the things that you have to offer. Talk a little bit
Well,
more about Piano Pyramid and how you make it work.
so what I found was siblings, scheduling. You know how scheduling can be so difficult in the fall. And I'm like, I need to find a way that this is easier, that the parents are not dropping
Yes.
piano because of scheduling, because of not practicing. And I thought about it. It needs to be like sports. Even though sports now, they meet like 3 or 4 times a week,
Yeah.
but they meet, they do what they have to do, and then they go home. Only those that want to have maybe a career in it or are really, really good and want to excel then get private tutoring.
Yes.
And so I was like, I want to follow that model, but then how do I do that in the studio? And so I thought about just harmonizing. What do we do when we harmonize? Well, some are playing, dominant, tonic, tonic, dominant. Some are playing half notes, whole notes. But we can find within one piece of music, we can find so many ways to let the student participate at
Yes.
their own level.
Yes.
And so that is what I started to do. And that's how I started to write the music because I knew I have this kid that's never done piano. How am I going to put him with this one that's done 3 years of piano?
Right. Right.
And so that's how I got the idea to start writing the music so that we could go ahead and do it all together. And it's been really, really, really good for my students. I know earlier I said I did group and then I didn't, and now I'm doing it again.
Yes.
So 2024, I was sick and I had to stop teaching.
Oh, I didn't know.
And so when I started again, I was only teaching teenagers that were preparing for Royal Conservatory, and I didn't do any group. And so
Yes.
I only had like 8 students instead of 40.
Yes.
And so now I'm starting gradually to rebuild and, do that all over again with only groups. So even my teens that were private, they're not practicing because I did not require them to do Royal Conservatory. So
Okay.
now I'm like, okay, we're going to have a special teen class so we
Oh,
can work
no.
on your practical skills because soon you're going to be out in the world and you need to know how to play by ear, improvise, play chords, all those things that the kids want to be able to do.
Yes. Yes. That's so good. I'm trying to remember, you had, like, 4 different levels,
5.
5 levels for each piece, and I like that idea of almost not a gamification, but you know how kids with video games, they want to level up, and so they
Mhm.
can start at that. I don't remember what you called the first
So the
level.
first one is prep pianist.
Prep pianist, okay.
And I specifically tell the teachers to start no younger than 8 if you're going to do a multi-level class because you want the student to have a certain level of maturity.
Okay.
Like they need to be able to find the page number find their theory pages without the teacher
Right.
having to do everything for them.
Yes.
So the pianist level, the notes are on the staff, but they are alpha notes. So the names of the notes are on there.
Yes.
And then that would be your beginner level. Then early elementary would have notes on the staff, no alpha notes. We still stay in mostly a five-finger position, but alternate hands. We're not playing hands together yet.
Okay.
Elementary level, you start to play hands together. Late elementary, you have to be able to do read really, really well all the notes on the staff.
Okay.
And then early intermediate is when we're playing the basic piano repertoire that we start students on.
Okay.
And all of those play together. Of course, the prep pianist, if we're playing, let's say we're playing Fur-Elise by Beethoven, they're not going to play the whole piece, but that
Right.
little part, that's what they want to play.
Right.
And so I was thinking, well, I know piano teachers, this is not our favorite
Sure.
song sheet, but if they learn it correctly, that's going to be awesome.
Yes.
So they can play that, and then after they play that little motive, and then they just harmonize. And
Yes.
that pattern comes over and over and over again. Well, the early intermediate level is playing the original.
Nice.
And the beginner, even if it's your first day of piano, can be able to play this by rote.
Wow.
And so as the students continue to play at whatever level they are at, then once they understand more of the reading, more of the rhythm, then they can choose to level up.
Yes.
And then, it's just worked really, really well to be able to continue to have that community in your studio,
Yes.
but the students are still learning and advancing at the same time.
Yes. And I heard, I had the opportunity to go to our National Music Teachers Conference last March, and Martha Hilly was there speaking. And of course, Martha Hilly is a Texas teacher, and those of us in Texas really love and respect Martha so much. But she was talking about how you would, the misconception is that a child in group lessons is going to learn slower because, that somebody else is going to advance and they're going to get stuck in the weeds or whatever. But she said, actually, when students are learning in a group setting, they actually progress faster, which I hate to say as a one-on-one teacher myself right now. I can see the value of that. As a solo student playing by yourself, you don't have to keep up with that external steady beat. You can just kind of stop and fix that note and maybe run the quarter notes as if they were eighth notes, and you can be accidentally creative with the rhythm. But if you're playing along with another group of people, that ingrains that steady pulse of the music. What a value for musicians to have.
And I like to call it's just a rich musical environment we have with group piano.
Yes.
I know many teachers do group piano and they have headphones on the whole time.
Right.
So the way we do it with Piano Pyramid is that we do everything out loud. They do have maybe 7 to 10 minutes with headphones when they're learning a new piece, but mostly we're learning out loud together. So you have to learn balance and ear training and rhythm, and learning all of this in context is just, there's no price on that,
Yes.
because then you can go out and play with anybody and you just have that internal ear to be able to play rhythmically with
Yes.
others. And that's what makes music so exciting to
Yes.
participate in.
Yes. Adapt to what you hear, either if you need to speed up or slow down and listen to each other. So important. So you're getting me excited as a teacher that And in fact, I'm thinking I have 3 sets of brothers and a set of sisters that already have their private lessons back to back. But I need to be incorporating some partners, some duets and some even if it's part of that starter pack that I bought from you.
Yes,
Uh,
and with the starter kit or with any of our piano pyramid ensembles, you don't have to have all 5 parts.
yes.
You can, my son and we had to find a song really fast on Sunday for our recital because there was a change of venue. We had
Oh,
not planned to play because we were going to be outdoors,
right.
but we were indoors. And so that morning, we're like, what are we going to play? So we got one of the piano pyramid pieces and we put that together quickly. And it sounded good with just 2 parts. We did
Yes.
not need all 5.
Yes.
So the way we try to write the music is that many of them, especially the ones in the curriculum, the students can play it as a solo, but
Nice.
also as a duet, a trio, or a big
It
ensemble.
can just grow just like it would in I think we're recording this right before Christmas, and so I've been listening to a lot of Linus and Lucy
Mhm.
and thinking about that trio, but really you could play the piano part standalone. It just is so much more fun when you're playing
Yeah.
along with someone else, but I love that you have standalone pieces so that when a child goes home and plays for grandma or whatever,
Yeah.
they still sound
You
li
still have the song. You're not just playing an accompaniment. You
yes,
actually have the song. So not all of our pieces are like that, are so ensembles that we sell separately that are not part of the curriculum,
yes.
just because we want to have different things that appeal to different teachers. But
Yes.
in the curriculum, we want to make sure that when they go home and practice, they're playing a song. It
Sounds
sounds
like
good on
something.
its own
Yes.
and together.
So let's talk. I mean, you and I are teachers. We also are parents, but our children are beyond our influence as far as teaching and then still coming up. But we've got piano parents that are listening. How can they incorporate? Maybe they can talk to their teacher. Of course, that would be
Mm.
very helpful. But how can they use what we're talking about? How can this apply to them at home right now?
Number one, parents need to change their mind about how piano lessons are conducted, how the we still have that battle with parents that believe that the only way to learn piano well is with private lessons. And it's not the only way. Group piano is very beneficial. We talked about many of the benefits that they get musically. And so I like to tell the parents, if you are going to practice with them 30 to 45 minutes every day, you're going to be present with them and make sure they do that, that they come to class prepared, that they're preparing for a festival or a competition or a performance somewhere. If you are going to be a part of that in a positive way, then private lessons are for you.
Mhm.
But if you want to drop your kid off and you're going to go run an errand,
Right?
then you need to consider group piano because they will learn as much as they would in private lessons, maybe not at the same speed because they're not practicing at home.
Right.
They're still going to learn to play the piano. And it's going to be such a beautiful experience for their student to be with other children that are or teenagers that are learning together.
Yes. Yes.
And that's one of the biggest barriers that group piano teachers have, is parents saying, "Oh, no, 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 we only want private lessons." And we're just trying to get the word out. This works, and the way that we have constructed and built Piano Pyramid for the teachers is that you can see in every single song that the student learns to play clear objectives of what will happen and what they will learn, so that the parent does not feel like this is just a game or it's
Yes.
just for fun.
Yes.
Clear objectives and a clear path so that you can know what's going on in class. And I think that's very important for the teachers to have, to be able to speak intelligently to the parent.
Yes.
And then the parents will be able to understand, oh, this is what's happening. It's not just a party.
Right. Although some parents these days would be okay with the
It's
party.
just a
Just
party, yes.
just a good experience for their children and
Yeah, and
maybe
there's nothing wrong with that.
sure,
A
sure.
lot of learning happens, but we want to be able to communicate with the parent, and but if the parents can just step back a minute and listen to what the teacher is saying, and or maybe come and observe a class to see what's happening, go to YouTube and try to find some videos and learn more about it.
Yes.
It's we've had group piano for so many years, but still we have those barriers that we're trying to break down so that parents will have options.
Yes.
Private is not for everybody and group is not for everybody.
Right.
And so, but once the parents understand how each work and how the outcome is the same, playing the piano,
Yes.
I
Making
think,
music.
yeah, I think they would be very, very open to it and very happy with it.
Well, and I'm thinking going back to what we were talking about at the beginning with your dad having sort of the singing circle kind of idea and your mom taking lessons with you or alongside you. This is a way that that can be reproduced. If a parent is wanting to encourage their child, one way for your child to really learn something is for them to teach you what they're doing.
Yeah,
And if you have a piece of music that was written by Dorla from the Piano Pyramid universe, then they can have their piece that they're working on.
yeah,
But then maybe you get that prep pianist. Is that what I'm sorry, I'm
yeah,
not remembering the name.
yes, yes, that
So
is the piano.
they can teach you the prep pianist part and then you can help each other. So I can see this even if your teacher is maybe not familiar, make them listen to this episode, but you can still make a purchase. You can I mean, and it's not a commercial necessarily for you, but you can still incorporate this into the music aspect of your family life, whether your teacher instigates it or initiates it or not. This is something that you can bring to your child. And the another thing for me with this podcast is the relationship that parents and children have, and I want to do anything I can do to help nurture that relationship and to make music and have fun with your child in this way, I can't think of anything better.
I agree totally. And with the group piano lessons, there are many teachers that have a class that is the mom with the kids.
Ah, nice.
That is great. Or a class that is just siblings.
Yes.
Um, Another thing that I do with my classes for young musicians, like ages 4 to 8, and I learned to do this with Music Garden, is that the last 15 minutes of class, parents would come in and then we go over the song that we learn. And so parents are learning and are able to help the student at home.
Yes.
And that has been just very, 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 very good for my early childhood classes. I start them playing the piano from day one, but the parents are involved. Parents join and then they see what's happening and they can help at home. And that is just beautiful because
Yes.
they need that support at home.
Absolutely. Yes. Because they're only at their lesson. Do you do 30-minute lessons or how long are your classes?
With my young children, ages 4 to 8, it's 30 minutes with me. It's a
Hmm.
group of 4-year-olds with me for 30 minutes, and then another additional 15 minutes where the parents come in and
Okay.
they're all sitting at a piano, and we go over the song that we learned that day or
So
whatever
that's
concept.
right. So that's just a short amount of time. There are 168 hours in the week. And you
Yeah,
have not even one. So the real work is happening at
at
home.
home, yes,
And the
definitely.
more informed and involved the parent can be, I think the more successful. I love, you sent me your bio and I'll include it in the show notes. But I love one of the sentences you said that you focus on helping teachers and parents understand how children thrive when music feels doable, structured, and encouraging. I would love for you to talk a little bit more about that as we sort of wrap up this conversation.
So doable. I can't remember what words I wrote there.
Doable,
Doable,
structured, and
structured,
encouraging. You, you're very smart.
encouraging. So doable means we want to be able to play a song every week. We learn a new song with my little ones.
Yes,
With my multi-level students, I want to make sure that the song that they are learning to play, they can sight read at that level, and
yes.
that they're successful in making music. Every single week we make music together.
Wonderful.
Sometimes it's chaotic, and that happens in group. But as you go along in the semester, you'll see how it gets better. Structured is that as a teacher, I have a structure that I follow in class, a framework.
Okay.
And so the students always know what to expect. They don't come to class and they don't know what to do. They come in, they know they put their headphones on while everybody else is coming in. We do our technique, we do our theory. And so there's a pattern to
Yes.
follow. And then encouraging is very much no one is a failure in any of my classes.
Good.
But also, I'm not going to lie to them and let them do something that is not at a high standard.
Yes.
And so, like my 4-year-old's first recital was this Sunday. We practiced our routine and we played for each other so much that this was so easy for them to just walk up to the piano,
Wonderful.
play their song with just one finger, and bow. And they didn't always do that in class. But
Sure.
I told them when it was wrong, like, no, we're going to do it this way. We're going to look at our feet when we bow.
Yes.
All of that. Very encouraging all through the semester so that when we do perform and share our music, they feel confident because they received that encouragement from me and from the parents when they were in class. Same with the multi-level students. I was so proud of them that they know if they're performing, they make a mistake. You don't stop and explain to everybody what happened.
Neon sign.
You keep going, right? That's an improvisation that we just did and we keep going.
Yes.
And that gives them so much confidence. It's encouraging to them to know they can get through this hurdle because we've worked on it and in a positive way.
Yes.
And so they love to perform. And if something happens, they keep going. And so all of those things, being doable, playing at a level that is comfortable for them, not just trying to impress,
Right.
but playing something that they can pick up this level of music anywhere and be able to play it.
Yes.
And then the framework for class, and then being encouraging to be able to share their music.
I think that's so great. I love that so much. And I love so much that you took some time to visit with me for this episode, this podcast. Tell us, please. We've mentioned the name of your curriculum, your pieces, Piano Pyramid. You have a website. What is your website?
So for the curriculum, well, that is separate, but for the multi-level ensembles can be bought.
Yes.
And that's pianopyramid.com.
Oh, wonderful.
And then my studio, where really is just for people trying to find lessons,
Right.
that is missdorla.com.
Okay. Well, if it's okay with you, I'll put both of them in the show notes
Of
because
course.
we have a lot of Texas teachers, a lot of Metroplex families who might be interested in checking out your studio, and I hope that they do. And then those that are not fortunate to be in Texas, I'm sorry that you don't live in Texas, but there's still something available for you through Piano Pyramid. And I love what you're doing. I haven't given up on group. It's not happening right now, but like I said, I do have those 3 sets of brothers and a set of sisters that I need to be learning myself through them. They can be my test pilots.
One little thing that
Yes.
I'll tell you to encourage you to do this with these groups that you're thinking that you could. This past year that I was not teaching group, I had ensemble days.
Okay.
So I still use my piano pyramid curriculum or any ensembles that we have. And I taught them privately to my students. But on ensemble day, we came together and we all put it together.
Oh, how fun.
And that was so much fun because the kids, they hadn't seen each other for such a long time.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just see each other, one leaving, one coming back from between classes.
Yes.
But that worked really well. And I did that with my son was teaching here also in the studio. So his students, he did the same and I did. And then we had like 3 different times during the semester. We call ensemble days where we all came together and we had to share pianos.
Yes.
There was like 14 kids and I only have maybe 10 pianos.
Yes.
So we would do that, but it was a lot of fun to put the music together that way.
Okay.
So maybe that's something you can work with them individually and then on a certain day come together.
Thank you. That is something I can hang my hat on. I could. That's doable.
Yes, that's doable.
Thank you. Thank you for the structure that you've already provided with the curriculum and for the encouragement. You're practicing what you preach.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me to talk about this. I know you can tell I can talk about it forever.
Yes.
So thank you for allowing me to share with others.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And that's the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for hanging around all the way to the end. If you haven't done so already, this would be a great time for you to hit the subscribe button. If you're listening through Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever your favorite podcast player is, hit subscribe so you will be the first to receive next week's episode. I would love to connect with you. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Piano Parent Podcast, and you could just email me, Shelley at pianoparentpodcast.com.